With just over a week left to the official Unpacked event, we pretty much already know everything there is to know about the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 series. What's up guys, Saf here on SuperSaf TV, and there have been so many new leaks and rumors. And as always, we're going to put them all together here in one place, SuperSaf style, so you guys know exactly what to expect. So a lot of you guys may already know that there will be two variants of the Samsung Galaxy Note 20. The Note 20 as well as the Note 20 Ultra. The Ultra is of course going to be the flagship version with all of the bells and whistles, and the Note 20 is going to have a lot of the features of the Note 20 Ultra, but a little bit more toned down and coming in at a cheaper price. So let's start off with the displays. From the front anyway, the Note 20 series is going to look very similar to the Note 10 series. So we're going to have squared off edges, small top and bottom bezels, with a punch out in the center. This punch out is going to be slightly smaller, and the bezels are also going to be slightly smaller, giving us a slightly larger screen to body ratio. A 6.9-inch display on the Note 20 Ultra, and the Note 20 we will have a 6.7-inch display. Now although both displays will have AMOLED technology, they are going to be very different. The Note 20 Ultra Quad HD Plus resolution, giving you a higher pixel density as well as a 120 Hz dynamic refresh rate. What does that mean? Well, it's going to be able to dynamically switch between different refresh rates, and that's going to make it more power efficient. It may also mean that we'll be able to get full Quad HD Plus resolution with 120 Hz at the same time, something that's currently not here on the S20 series. Now the Note 20 is going to have a full HD Plus resolution, so it's going to have a lower pixel density, not as sharp as the Note 20 Ultra, and it's also going to have a 60 Hz refresh rate, not 120 Hz like the Note 20 Ultra. So it's not going to have that smooth experience that you'll be getting on the flagship model. But in addition to that, it's also going to have a flat display compared to the curved display on the Note 20 Ultra. Curved versus flat really comes down to your personal preference, but the Note 20 Ultra clearly the superior overall display. The Note 20 Ultra is also rumored to be the world's first smartphone to have Gorilla Glass 7, which is going to be more durable compared to previous generations. Whether this is just going to be on the front or also on the back is still a question mark. And moving on to the overall build, we're going to have the metal frame with glass panels as we know. For the Note 20, although we are likely to have a metal frame, there are lots of rumors that the back is going to be what Samsung called Glastic. That is essentially plastic made to look like glass, and if this is the case, then the Note 20 is not going to be as premium as the Note 20 Ultra, and it's also not going to be as resistant to scratches. It may, however, mean that the Note 20 is going to be coming in at a much lower price compared to the Note 20 Ultra. Both devices are rumored to be IP68 water and dust resistant. For colors, we are going to have some different colors. The Note 20 is going to be coming in a bronze, a gray, as well as a green. And the Note 20 Ultra is going to be coming once again in that bronze, but also a black. And we've just seen today a white version too. Now all of these are going to be called Mystic something or another, but I don't want to keep saying Mystic. Now the white version may just be for particular markets, but personally speaking, I am really digging the bronze color. It looks very slick. It's also likely to have a matte frosted finish rather than a glossy finish, which should look really, really good. Now the Note 20 Ultra is of course going to be larger overall in terms of dimensions. It's also going to weigh a little bit more compared to the regular Note 20. And with the design on the back, you can see that both devices are following Samsung's rectangular camera module theme, which they've had on most of their smartphones this year. The Note 20 Ultra does appear to have quite a large camera bump, and that is of course because of the improved cameras. Now let's talk about the cameras, because the cameras are going to be different on both of these. So starting off with the Note 20 Ultra, you can see 3 camera modules as well as a laser autofocus sensor. The primary camera will be a 108 megapixel camera with a large sensor size and optical image stabilization similar to what we had on the S20 Ultra, but this has been revised and we do have that laser autofocus, which should improve autofocus massively. You guys may have seen myself as well as many others talk about the autofocus issues that were primarily there on the S20 Ultra series. So this should now be fixed on the Note 20 Ultra. Great to see Samsung take that feedback on board and bring us these improvements. The secondary camera will be a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. Now this is down from the 16 megapixels that we had on the S20 Ultra, and I'm kind of glad because I did prefer the 12 megapixel ultra wide camera on the Note 10 Plus, which was a last year smartphone compared to this year's S20 Ultra. And finally, there is going to be a 12 megapixel periscope zoom camera, which is going to give 5 times optical zoom and up to 50 times digital zoom, which Samsung call space zoom. So thankfully, we no longer have 100x zoom plastered all over the camera like we had on the S20 Ultra, something that, we all fed back on. Pictures at 100x digital zoom are just not good and they are not usable. And it's great once again to see Samsung has taken that feedback on board, and we should be getting pretty good results at 50x. I still wouldn't, put my hopes up in this area, but generally speaking, they should be giving you some decent results. Now for the regular Note 20, we kind of have a similar setup to what we had on the S20 Plus as well as the S20. So we've got a primary 12 megapixel camera with optical image stabilization, a larger sensor size compared to last year, a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera, similar to what we've got on the Note 20 Ultra, as well as a 12 megapixel telescope zoom camera, which is going to give you up to 3 times optical zoom and up to 30 times digital zoom. For video, we are looking at 8K up to 24 frames a second, something that was introduced in the S20 line, and 10 megapixels for the selfie front-facing cameras. Now, the next part is going to be controversial, and that is because we'll be talking about performance of the Note 20 series. And unfortunately, it is looking like they will be powered by the Exynos 990 series in regions such as the UK and Europe. And we will be getting a Qualcomm Snapdragon version in other regions. Now, you've probably heard me talk about this many times before, as well as many others. The Exynos chipsets are just not on the same level as the Qualcomm chipsets. So we've seen the performance differences on the S20 series. But what's even more controversial this time around is that the Note 20 Ultra is rumored to potentially have the newer Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 Plus chipset, which is 10% more powerful compared to the 865, and it's also 10% more power efficient. Now, considering that the 865 regular edition is already superior to the 990, if you do have this difference, it's going to be very controversial. I really don't know what to say right now. I was hopeful that Samsung would maybe have the Exynos 992, but it doesn't look like it's going to be the case. But anyway, moving on, in terms of RAM and storage, the Note 20 is likely to have 8 gigabytes of RAM with 256 gigabytes of storage. The Note 20 Ultra coming with a base of 12 gigabytes of RAM with up to 512 gigabytes of storage. Now, there may also be a 16 gigabyte of RAM version for the Note 20 Ultra like we had for the S20 Ultra, but that is still a bit of a question mark. One thing that is currently rumored is that the Note 20 Ultra will have a micro SD card slot, so you'll be able to expand the storage on there. This is something that's not going to be available on the Note 20. It's a similar setup to what we saw last year between the Note 10 and the Note 10 Plus, where the Note 10 Plus did have that micro SD card slot and the Note 10 did not. Another piece of information that we've also seen is that the Note 20 Ultra is just going to be available in a 5G version. The Note 20 is going to be available in 4G as well as 5G versions. So maybe in certain markets where 5G is not fully supported, that's where potentially a cheaper version of the Note 20 with just 4G is going to be retailing. For software, of course, it is going to be Android 10 with the One UI skin on top. And for speakers, we are going to have stereo speakers on both devices, one in the earpiece and one bottom firing, tuned by AKG. Of course, no 3.5mm jack. This is something that's expected, so just come to terms with it. say goodbye. Now let's talk about what makes the Note series unique, the S Pen. The S Pen is going to be improved for the Note 20 series, in particular for the Note 20 Ultra, where the latency is down to 9 milliseconds, which is going to be super responsive and it's going to give you a very smooth writing experience. The Note 20 S Pen is going to have around 26 milliseconds latency, which is still very, very low, but just not as smooth as the Note 20 Ultra. We've also seen some information about an S Pen pointer feature. How exactly this is going to work, we're not 100% sure, but what we do know is there will be support for wireless DeX. This is the ability to connect your Note 20 to an external display for a desktop environment. And this may mean that you'll be able to use your S Pen as a pointer on an external display, which would be pretty cool. In addition to that, we have seen some rumors that Samsung has been working very closely with Microsoft to optimize the Note 20s for use with Project xCloud and Xbox Game Pass. So you'll be able to stream very high quality games on the Note 20s. Now moving on to the batteries, the Note 20 is likely to have a 4,300 mAh battery and the Note 20 Ultra with a larger 4,500 mAh battery, which are respectable sizes. And with the Note 20 Ultra, thanks to the improved display technology, the dynamic refresh rate should give you some good battery life. 25-watt chargers will be included in the box and they'll give you around 0 to 50% in 30 minutes. But there is also likely to be support for a 45-watt charger, which will be sold separately. Of course, wireless charging is going to be supported, as well as reverse wireless charging, something that we've seen from Samsung over the past couple of years. Now, one thing that hasn't really been confirmed but was speculated and I'm still hopeful for is the Note 20 and the Note 20 Ultra having support for the 3D Sonic Max fingerprint scanner from Qualcomm. This would give you a 17 times larger area for your fingerprints and also allow you to use 2 fingerprints at the same time to make things more secure. Now, not really seen any confirmed reports of this as yet. I'm still very hopeful, but it may be the case that we'll still have the regular ultrasonic in-display fingerprint scanner on the Note 20 and the Note 20 Ultra. Now finally, moving on to price. We've not had any specifics around pricing as yet, but if we do take the Note 10 pricing, so the Note 10 started at around $950 with the Note 10 Plus coming in at around $1,100. And also if we look at the S20 series, the S20 Ultra coming in at around $1,400, I would expect the Note 20 Ultra to be around $1,200 to $1,400. Now for the Note 20, considering that it's got a flat display, it's potentially going to have that glass-stick back and all of the other sort of cutbacks, then this should mean that the Note 20 is going to be coming in potentially cheaper than what the Note 10 came in at. So I would predict around $800 to $900. Again, these are just predictions based on what we've seen previously. And as soon as I have any further information about these, I will be posting them on my Twitter. So if you are not following me already, then be sure to follow me on Twitter. I am at SuperSaf. And there will, of course, be lots more detailed coverage after the 5th of August, which is the date for Unpacked. If you want to see all of that exclusive SuperSaf style coverage first, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss any of it. What do you guys think of the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 and the Note 20 Ultra? Definitely drop me a comment below and let me know. I am super excited. I have been a fan of the Note series for a long time, so I'm very excited to actually get my hands on the new Note 20s. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, then do hit that thumbs up button for me. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on SuperSaf TV, and I'll see you next time.